now, even before we get into Scrum versus traditional project management, it's extremely important for us to understand the importance of having a proper framework for implementing projects in your company, right? We spend a lot of money implementing projects for coming up with new software, new products, setting up an assembly line, or anything, right? And the correct approach for you, or the framework for you to do the project, helps the company uh, significantly improve the return on investment by ensuring that people work together as a team. There is less wastage, less waiting, better management of all dependencies, which typically come with multiple people working in a team, right? And uh, ensuring that all the deliverables possible are are created in the most efficient way, right? So first, we definitely need a great project framework which can help you implement projects in your company well. Now, the traditional way of doing projects was, there was a lot of emphasis on upfront planning. So, which is around, we need to create a huge project plan. There has to be multiple project managers, and everything needs to be documented, and um, uh, it you need to plan years in advance, like maybe a couple of years, you before you start seeing the results of your project. But this was fine when things in the earlier era, but with the changes in IT and change in the approach and the speed in which things get done in this age, the traditional project management approach falls very short. So that has pretty much, and it's not just in India but globally, uh, more so with any innovative company globally. The traditional project management approach has been replaced by what is called a Scrum. Now, Scrum or agile way of doing things is, how do we get stuff done faster? We don't spend so much time in upfront planning, right? So we plan. It doesn't mean we don't plan. We plan, but we plan for, let's say, a month, 2 months in advance. We figure out what needs to be done fast to deliver value to customers quickly. We don't do releases after 2 years. How can we release fast, right? In 2 weeks, if there's something which is of value to the customer, can it be released fast? So people start seeing value. You can also experiment, get stuff. You can figure out what is working, what is not working, and do changes appropriately. The team is extremely motivated because what they see, the benefit of what they are doing out there in the market, right? And by the way, this is the approach which is being used by almost everyone in the Silicon Valley. It's used by across in almost all Fortune 500 companies. Um, a little more in the IT departments like R&D, and which require more innovation, where change is the norm. A little less in the traditional fields, but still, even traditional, like manufacturing, right? A lot of companies are now trying to figure out, how do we use a Scrum and Agile way of getting. As I was discussing earlier, right? You need to have a framework around, okay, you're delivering projects, it's thousands of crores, right? Of rupees, and it's a lot of people, several hundred thousands people working together. So even before you say, we will do a project, let's using Scrum, to figure out how does it work, right? How would we start doing it? How would we set it up? How would we actually go about implementing it? And how do we see if it is working? What is going wrong? What is going right? So if framework is like a guiding principle, that forms the basis for you to start working on your Scrum journey, or doing projects the Agile way. So that is where the Scrum body of knowledge becomes very important. A body of knowledge, and that was developed by us. By the way, I'm the lead author of that book, but there's more than 1,000 other practitioners who have contributed, and it's pretty much the definitive framework around how would you do projects in the Scrum Agile way. It's got more than 3 million downloads globally, translated into 8+ languages, and forms the basis of Scrum implementations in, I think, more than 40% of the Fortune 500 companies globally. So and it's all available for free. I mean, I think in the even we are giving it off a free copy to everyone. Plus, it's available for free on the website. And there's a bunch of training around how the framework should be used and products based on the framework, so that everyone, if there's several hundred people working on a project, if everyone sort of understands the Scrum way of doing it using this book, then everyone is pretty much on the same level around how we will work together, right? So that initial training is definitely needed before you start going ahead in your Scrum journey. And that is where the Scrum body of knowledge comes in. And by the way, you don't have to read the whole book. So the whole book may be required for a practitioner who is really doing implementation and figuring out how to improve stuff. A Scrum team member may need to read maybe 30, 40, 50 pages, but it gives you a good feel around what is this framework all about? How am I going to fit into the framework? How will it help my company do better, right? And how do how do customers, vendors, and all the other people involved in the project actually contribute effectively, so that this project is successful. I would highly recommend that you should check out the book, but also go online, do some online. There's a lot of videos and free webinars and stuff, which will give you a good feel around how this whole framework works. So the first thing is, unlike a lot of other frameworks that have come to the market, which has been a top-down approach, where the management pretty much has been forcing the people below to move to a different framework. Scrum actually, as a movement, has been a bottoms-up movement. It has been started by the team members, by the developers, because it is a framework which sort of empowers the people in the team, right? So they decide what they want to do, what they can do in a specific period of time, and of course, how they are going to contribute to the overall company objectives, right? So one thing definitely which is required is an awareness of why this framework is more suited in the current scenario compared to the traditional way of doing projects. So it is, if you were to ask this question to me 15 years ago, I would have struggled. But for me now, it's an easy answer. I just say, why don't you go and check out the top innovative companies globally and see what project approach they use. Most of them are using Scrum, DevOps, other agile methods compared to traditional project management. And the reason is, it from a company point of view, it delivers return on investment for any project upfront and at a very quick pace. And it's around 30 to 40% more efficient than traditional project management. So that is one. The second bit of it is the people who are working on it. They love this approach because it's not like a group of it actually tries to break you up into groups of small people, like 10 people, 15 people, which is actually a cohesive group. If you're working in a like 100 people group, you lose sight of what exactly you are doing, right? So it's small groups working together to create products which can be released faster, right? And provide better ROI to the company. So it's beneficial both from a company management point of view and also very good for the team to work on, right? And it removes a lot of stuff that no one wants to do. For example, a lot of documentation, a lot of meetings, a lot of upfront planning.